Hey guys, what's up? I'm back with another review of a high-grade Gundam kit, and this time we're taking a look at the Gundam Barbatuarus. Now, full disclosure, I'm not a big fan of the Barbatos, never really have been, but this is just cool. I mean, it's three of my favorite colors. It's black and red and purple. I'm gonna like it. I mean, that's quite good. As you can tell, it's a very thick box compared to a regular high grade. Most of that's because you pretty much get the equivalency of two model kits. And yeah, it's an interesting beast. I'm not gonna lie, it's both fascinating and kind of bad, but a lot of that has to do with kind of the weird idea this kit goes off of. You know, if it was just a remold of the Barbatos, it probably wouldn't be too bad, but we'll figure that out when we get closer into it. Side's not too bad. Of course, you have the advertisement for Battlelouge, which this was a fun little anime. This was a good time. If you want to read this, go right ahead. But yeah, I mean, Gundam Battlelouge was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it for what it was. Get your legalese here on the side as usual. Again, nothing on the back because unlike the Age 2 Magnum that had the full advertisement and QR code on the back for the anime that was coming out, that's been moved over here to the corner. This might actually still work, to be honest. I don't know if it does or not. I haven't tried it. I would say let's try it here, but it's kind of hard to, do that. But let me work my magic and we'll take a look at him. Yeah, no rotating stand this time, I'm sorry, but that's because he won't fit on a rotating stand. He's huge. And yeah, it's a big model. This bow accessory is absolutely awesome. This is one of the things that sold me on the kit in the first place, was this. I don't really like how the arrow has to go. I don't really like how that, once it's there though, it looks fine, but I mean, it can be weird. Let's get a height measurement on this big boy, shall we? So, he stands at the top of the shoulder pads about 7 inches long, but at the top of the actual head, it's even 6 inches. And his length is about 9.5 inches to the tip of the tail. But if we're talking about to just from leg to leg, yeah, the figure's like 7 inches. So that's pretty big for a high grade. I'll explain why he wouldn't fit on the Lazy Susan here in a minute. Most of that's because of this. Here's where we're going to get into kind of the bad part of the review. I'm just going to take the hands off to make this easier to review. It's just, yeah, I don't feel like, well, this is one problem. But essentially what you've got in this situation is a weird concept. I get what they were going for, but I don't think it works at all. It looks cool. It's cool on paper. It's a cool idea. I don't really mind the idea of it. But by strapping what is essentially... Let me just show you. This is almost a complete model itself. You have the shoulder joints, the entire inner frame parts, and essentially leg parts to another Barbatos. You essentially have the bare parts of another model kit here. Weird. But what gets even weirder is this. This doesn't look bad on its own. This is actually quite cool just by itself. I don't really know why we have that extra piece. Plus the stability and rigidity of this figure is far better. Stability and rigidity of this model kit's far better without the extra legs. That's so weird. Matter of fact, let me try something here. Let me see if this can just peg on to the back of the regular figure. The back of the regular model, because if it can, why not just do that? Maybe with some finagling it can. I mean, you know, square peg round hole, I don't think it's going to really fit on, but if it could, that would be perfect. You know what, I might do something with that later. But I'm going to leave that off for the rest of the review because it's just too cumbersome. It's too hard to work with. The model becomes a hand grenade when you're trying to do anything with it because those back legs just don't make it usable. I myself like the idea of this just lanky, well, lankier version of the Barbatuarus that's black, purple, and red. I think that's a lot cooler. And because it's just the Barbatuarus, it means that it's got the weapons of the Barbatuarus. Which again, when you take off the back legs, work better. When you leave the back legs on, they're pretty bad. But yeah, I can say out of the entire Iron-Blooded Orphans line, the Barbatuarus itself is not a bad model. I know the original model had some of these issues of, you know, parts popping off in random locations, but that's really more the design of what's in the anime compared to the actual model itself. I'm still not a big Iron-Blooded Orphans fan, but I have to admit the Barbatuarus is a cool design. Most of the designs in that show were pretty solid. They were pretty well done for what they were. I mean, there were nothing too crazy offensive, nothing too badly designed. This is a perfect example of if you take an already cool design and you put an even cooler color scheme with it, it's going to look cool. I mean, you know, yeah, there's some obvious paint work that can be done, like the little power logos on the knees can be bright pink. You could put a few more bits of paneling here on the feet to bulk that out a bit. The high-heeled looks quite cool. I mean, fits the idea of diabolical villain. I don't know why they didn't just do this for the show. This actually fits more of what the main bad guy looks like, too. Having it like this. But yeah, I mean, you know, you got the hoses exposed. You've got the typical upper body frame of the Barbatuarus. And I know in my last Iron-Blooded Orphans review, I dogged it, but I don't think it was really the inner workings of the model. I think it was more just the bad design of that model, the bad design of how that model turned out. The new shoulder pads that come with this kit, yeah, they're pretty good. I mean, you get pretty much a stag beetle look. I think it's quite cool. This is a bit cumbersome. The V-fin doesn't want to stick on. Well, partial V-fin, I guess you'd call it. But it's cool. I mean, very rarely do we get, you know, blue eyes on a kit. I don't know if you can see them there. Let me get you some light. Yeah, blue eyes on a Barbatuarus, but it's quite cool. Again, could probably paint that a bright pink too. Really, that's one of my biggest complaints with this. It's already a cool looking concept. It's already a cool idea. I think if you'd had a little better color separation, a little better, you know, overall contrast without having to paint anything, you probably would have had a real winner on your hands of a model. I mean, this model was just so cumbersome to assemble that I didn't even bother panel lining it. I was just so sick and done with the model kit when it was over. And that's sad, because it's a cool model. It looks cool. I mean, this thing just strikes a cool pose. Again, this is just kind of dumb. I mean, all you'd really have to do to get another Barbatuarus out of this would be just, you know, rotate the feet. Oh look, there's the legs of the original Barbatuarus. This with some parts inverted. And no heel. And there's the shoulder joints and stuff. I mean, yeah, this was kind of a lazy way to do this. It's not awful, but it's also not good either. It's not awful, but it's not good, especially because it faces the wrong way. I mean, if you're going for a bestial look, the This doesn't really read as bestial, it just reads more as weird. I mean, I wouldn't really put this as bestial. I'd put this as, well, one, lazy, but also two, you already had the idea here for a cool concept. Again, you could have had either leg option. You could have pretty much just included the parts to make a regular Barbatuarus or a Rex, or make this version. You know, this line's pretty solid. I like the build line. I think it's quite a cool thing. Most of the build line's quite cool, especially the build Battlelouge line. They're quite awesome kits because they're remolds of older models that we haven't gotten in a long time. These are still available at retail too. You can get these at like Hobby Lobby for like 20 bucks. These are awesome models, but you just, man, you kind of drop the ball on this. In all honesty, if you buy this model, I'd highly recommend you retrofit this to fit on this and just display him like this. Anime accuracy or not, I don't really care about that. This just looks cool. Plus, you get the Barbatuarus katana, which, again, with this figure, looks cool. I don't know why I keep saying figure, guys. I'm sorry. I have not had enough caffeine today, and it's like 11 p.m. on like a Tuesday night. It's, yeah. It's like 11 p.m. right now. It's a bit late. So yeah, if I try to mess up a few things here and there, that's why. But I mean, that just looks cool. That sword looks good in his hands as well. Again, as a centaur, I like the idea of a centaur Gundam. That's awesome. The idea of a centaur Gundam is really cool. But the idea of a Gundam that's more of this just imposing, lanky bad guy is just even cooler, in my opinion. I mean, and yeah, you can lock the legs if you want a more, short look. I personally don't. I want the legs to be their full length. Well, there we go. And that's the thing, is that, again, the amount of options you can do with this are, again, a lot. It's a cool model. But yeah, I mean, the sword looks good in the hand. I like the sword look. That might be how it gets posed on the shelf. I like the bow and arrow. I think that's a really awesome idea that you used one of the beast effects from the Lupus, or was it the Rex? I can't remember. And these 30-minute mission blade accessories to make a bow and arrow. What makes it even cooler, you can take these off. Yeah, this isn't going to mount to the eyes anymore, or the V-fin anymore, which, whatever. You can make little blades out of this. This is cool. I mean, it's just some cool stuff. Doesn't pop apart, but it makes like a bladed weapon. Just, make a bow out of it again. It's a cool thing. This is cool. The arrow doesn't really serve much of a purpose outside of just, being an arrow, and the way you have to hold it's kind of weird, but now, for the thing that I think is probably the coolest looking with this kit, because it's cool with the regular Barbatuarus. This is coming from someone who's not an IBO fan either, and I think it's cool. So you know it's cool. I'm a Gundam Seed fanboy. I will sing the praises of Gundam Seed until I'm blue in the face. I guess I technically have no room to talk about, taste when I like Gundam Seed, but yeah. The mace, though, this This is what you buy a Barbatuarus for. Yeah, it's pretty cool. That looks good. Yeah, for the whole, demon aesthetic that this is going for, I think that's the coolest look. Having the big old mace is just, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty freaking neat. Honestly, that's probably how this model's gonna stay, is like this. See, this is why I make these videos, so that you and I together can discover really cool things about model kits together. Never did I think that I would just take that apart and I would like it better. I like it better taken apart. I think it's cooler. I think you guys will like it better too. So if you do buy this model, which it's a pretty solid model, it's a pretty cool release. It's not going to do anything too massively offensive. I mean, other than being an unstable mess when you stick whatever this is supposed to be onto the back. If you take that off and just display him as just Barbatuarus with a tail, Barbatuarus with an insect butt, that's a cooler idea. It's a cooler concept. As a matter of fact, I just might do something in an upcoming video, and we'll see how well that's going to look on this model if it's attached permanently. Besides, gun plus freedom, so. Also, looking at that other set of sub legs, I think there is an ankle here. No. I thought these dropped down for a minute. I was going to say. No. Alright. Fair enough then. Yeah. We might find a way to attach this permanently to that model. Give it the cool forked bendy tail, because that's a cool thing. I just think that's neat. I really like this model. It's weird that I'm not a big fan of the Barbatuarus normally. I don't think the colors usually work. But you put the Barbatuarus in black and purple and red, I'm all about it. Really, this is a way to get me to like any model kit. You just put it in red or purple or black, I'm gonna like it. It doesn't matter how good or how bad it is, I'm gonna like it. Also, this kit's pretty substantially tall. I mean, when you undo all that shenanigans, he actually comes in quite a bit taller. He's pretty big now. He's about 6 3/8 inches to the top of his head. To the top of the V fin, he's like 7. To the top of the shoulder pads, he's pushing 8 inches. Yeah, that's a pretty big Barbatuarus. Now, this is a version I would recommend. I like this model quite a bit. But I think it's also because they went in and they re-engineered some parts of this to make it a little more stable, which is good. That's what you should do. If you guys can get a hold of these model kits from the Battlelouge line, you get a hold of them pretty affordably, do it. They're good kits. You're not going to regret buying them. They're a lot of fun. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully it was somewhat informative. And again, I'd love to have a discussion with you guys in the comments below. Go ahead and leave a couple comments for me. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is a cool kit? Do you think it's a cool color variant? You think it's cool enough to warrant being its own thing? Or would you just paint a regular Barbatuarus this color? Or do you just find this to be a really cool concept in general? Let me know in the comments. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.